everyone, I'm Brandy, an OpenSciEd teacher and professional learning facilitator. Welcome to OpenSciEd Chemistry, Unit 4, Lesson 3. In this lesson, we brainstorm a list of substances that contain both water and carbon dioxide. We plan an investigation with our group to test whether solutions of carbon dioxide and water are acidic. We read an article and explore a website about pH. Let's get started. Let's take a look at how we got here. During Lesson 2, we figured out solving the problem of oyster die-off in the United States will require breaking the problem into subproblems and developing solutions that address both root cause and mitigating local impacts. Since we know the effective solutions require an understanding of the mechanisms, in this lesson, we're wondering, can carbon dioxide make the ocean more acidic? Here's the lesson at a glance. This investigation takes place over 2 days. The teacher's guide says about 40 minutes of material preparation is required to prepare the solutions for the investigation. If you don't have a materials kit, it might take a little bit closer to an hour to prepare everything for the lab groups. Your students will need to access devices later on in this lesson when they investigate the map of pH data from NOAA. There are 2 big parts in this lesson. Let's see what's happening in each. The first loop, we're wondering how carbon dioxide can make water more acidic. We brainstorm examples of carbon dioxide mixed in water that might be able to test. Then we plan and conduct an investigation to test the acidity of the different types of water, such as carbonated or distilled, etc. We figure out that we can test the pH of a substance using pH indicator strips or indicator solutions. We also figure out that water that is carbonated has a lower pH value than the water that's not carbonated. We wonder what pH actually is. In the second loop, we read about the pH scale and indicators, and then we have a building understandings discussion to clarify our new understandings about pH. We figure out acidic substances have a pH below 7. Basic substances have a pH above 7, and neutral substances have a pH of 7. That's determined by the ratio of hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions. We also figure out that a 10-fold change in the hydrogen ion concentration changes the pH value by 1 on the pH scale. We wonder, what is it about the substance that determines whether it forms an acid or a base when it's added to water? We figured out that acids have a pH below 7, bases have a pH above 7, neutral substances have a pH of 7. A single number change on the pH scale is a 10 times change in the hydrogen ion concentration. And now for a few key moments. One of the science and engineering practices that were intentionally designed in this lesson is planning and conducting an investigation. Part 3 gives your students an opportunity to plan, and they will conduct their investigation in Part 4. You'll provide your students with the materials that they can use to test the acidity of a variety of the water samples: salt water, carbonated water, flat carbonated water, distilled water, and citric acid solution. This moment is important because it allows them the freedom to design their investigation however they would like, and it also gives students an opportunity to generate their own data with the bromothymol blue indicator and universal pH strips. Before designing their investigations, students will have an opportunity to explore the benefits and limitations of the 2 indicators and what they can collect from each. The purpose of the discussion in Part 5 is to identify patterns in the group of investigation data that can be used to support a claim, as well as determine which tools for recording data and which substances the class should use for the future investigations. You'll be listening for a few key ideas, such as carbonated water has a lower pH value than flat carbonated water. Distilled water has a pH of 7 or is neutral. We should use pH strip indicators in our future investigations. Distilled water should also be used as a control in our future investigations. This is important because we are working toward the students identifying their own empirical evidence that supports the claim that increased atmospheric carbon dioxide levels have caused ocean water to become more acidic. The key moment in part 6 is the opportunity for the students to explore the concept of pH, the focus being what do pH values indicate and how is one pH value different from another. Students will complete a connect, extend, question graphic organizer as they read the article Measuring pH. Then the students will revisit the Lesson 1 ocean pH data from NOAA and continue adding information to their graphic organizer. We are building toward integrating sources of information to answer scientific questions about pH values and how a change in a magnitude of hydrogen ions in solution affects the pH values. In part 7, the students will be developing connect and extend posters where they're sharing the ideas that captured in the graphic organizer during part 6. The connect poster should reflect how the ideas and the information from the reading and the website connect to what they already know. The extend poster will be for new ideas that extend or broaden their thinking. This is important because the students should be integrating information from the reading and the website to answer their questions about pH. They should be able to explain that pH values indicate the concentration of hydrogen ions in a solution, and that an increase by a factor of 10 in the concentration of hydrogen ions in a solution leads to a decrease by 1 in the pH value of the solution. This chart can be a little tricky for some students, but what I found is that I consistently have a few students who are usually in higher level math classes that are more than comfortable with the exponents, and they usually jump in and help explain how this scale works. So where do we go from here? We plan to conduct an investigation to test whether the solutions of carbon dioxide and water were acidic. We read an article and explored the website about pH. So now we're wondering, what is it about a substance that determines whether it produces more or fewer hydrogen ions or hydroxide ions when it's added to water? And now for a few tips and tricks. For part 3, you'll want to locate the teacher reference, prepare water solutions. And this bulleted list of materials for each lab group is in that teacher edition. Do the math ahead of time. I figured out how many total lab groups I would have across all of my sections, and then how much of each solution I needed to prepare. The preparing water solution directions make 1,000 milliliters of the saltwater solution and the citric acid solution, which is enough for 10 groups. If you had more groups than that, you'll need to double your recipe. You'll need to purchase some carbonated water ahead of time. I just purchased a case or two of the cans of generic carbonated water. You'll need to pop a few cans open at least a few hours before, but I did it the night before to make sure that those cans were definitely flat carbonated water for experimenting with the next day. Students may benefit from seeing how the bromothymol blue indicator and the universal pH strips work before developing their investigation plans. So just quickly demonstrate that using tap water. The purpose of using tap water is to avoid giving away any of the data that the students might collect later in the investigation. There's also a teacher reference with 3 sample investigation plans. The first one is straightforward, just using stock solutions. The second plan involves varying the amount of carbonated water in combination with salt water, which would be a good approximation for the combination of ocean water and carbon dioxide. The third plan compares salt water with either carbonated or flat carbonated water in equal proportions. So if your students are struggling with designing their investigations, or your special education students need some inspiration, or you're just short on time, you could modify this teacher resource into a student-facing handout without much difficulty. For the personal glossary, you will co-construct with your students the meanings of pH, acid, and base. They will also encounter concentration. You know your students best, especially if you have multi-language learners. You may want to take the time to add this to your personal glossary as well. For poster management, you'll need the class consensus model that you created during Lesson 1 and your community agreements, as well as the driving question board. You'll be creating the connect and extend posters as you capture student ideas during the building understanding discussion in part 7. So to recap, this lesson, we brainstormed a list of substances that contained both water and carbon dioxide. We planned and conducted our investigation to test the solutions to see if they were acidic. And we read an article and explored a website about pH. Up next, in Lesson 4, we will use molecular formulas to predict which substances are acids, bases, or neither. We'll use mathematical thinking to compare quantities of particles and concentrations in different solutions and conduct an investigation. We'll develop a model to explain our results. Good luck and have fun.